The track is officially open. We want to run you through some rules before we get to Ryan Hunter-Reay, which is the first car to roll. Yesterday, we locked in positions 13 through 30. There are 34 cars, by the way, folks, going for 33 spots. Also today, we will decide the last row. 4 cars going for 3 spots. That's going to be nail-biting. But right here, right now, we've got the fastest 12 cars from yesterday, and that group gets split in half because later on, we will do the Firestone Fast 6 to set the first 2 rows of the grid. Let's get straight to it. And you are looking at the 43-year-old father of 3, Ryan Hunter-Reay, an IndyCar champion, the 2014 Indianapolis 500 winner, but he is no longer a full-time driver, and yesterday he thrilled everybody here at the Brickyard by putting this car for Dreyer Reinbold Racing with Cusick Motorsports into the Fast 12.
He's a part-time, one-off Indy 500 driver right now, racing for a one-off part-time race team. Locally owned Dreyer Reinbold Racing, team owner Dennis Reinbold, a prominent car dealer here, along with his partner Don Cusick. And they found the power and the speed to make this Chevy real quick as Hunter-Reay starts to ramp up the momentum round turn 3 and 4 and come for the green flag, James.
The build up to the green flag is as important as the laps you're running themselves. You want that good run through 3 and 4 because you want to start this first lap at absolute max velocity that you can achieve by the yard of bricks. And as we watch Hunter-Reay start that first lap, I see 236 miles an hour into turn 1.
Really good start. It's 4 laps, folks, 10 miles, and it is the most exhilarating but nerve-wracking and intense 10 miles these IndyCar drivers will do on any occasion. This is it. This is qualifying for the Indy 500. Nothing gets more important.
You almost 239 going into turn 3, and over in turn 3, the track temperature 120 degrees, but down in turn 1, it is 132. Why does that matter? Because the Firestone tires get absolutely abused at these speeds in the corners, and hanging on to the race car and staying wide open on the throttle is what it's all about.
Lap 1, 231.4 miles an hour.
It's a fast number in relative terms, or absolute terms, I should say. Relative, though, that's going to be slower than what Ryan Hunter-Reay wanted to see. We saw times up in the 233s this morning in practice for the Fast 12 cars, but it's not just about the fastest time, it's about the consistency. You said it, Diff, 4 laps around here, the car changes, the tires deg, the engine slows down. It's about being consistent. Lap 2, big drop off for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
230.1 miles an hour. It's your best average over the 4 laps.
Watching the throttle trace, lower left-hand side right here. That's the live telemetry coming off the race car. When it's all green, that is full throttle. Let's see if Ryan Hunter-Reay can keep his foot to the floor as that tire scrub, the degradation of the tires starts to come into effect. It looks like he's flat. You see just a little bit of a tickle there. That could just be the sensor at its peak. It looks like wide open throttle for Hunter-Reay as he gets lap 3.
Lap 3 clocks in at a 230.1, almost no drop off there. In fact, sped up a little bit inside the car. If you have tools, you can adjust things like the weight jacker, things like the roll bars that affect the handling, affect the balance as these tires wear over a 4-lap run. You try to stay ahead of the balance so you don't scrub more and lose more speed.
And the other thing you'll be looking at is gear position. Hunter-Reay opting to stay in 5th gear. We might see some other runners, Diff, shifting down to 5th in the corners, up to 6th on the straightaway. Wife Becky looks on.
And the kids are there as well. The 4-6ers Ranch Chevrolet out of the final turn, the first to the yard of bricks. Ryan Hunter-Reay completes his Fast 12 qualifying run with a 4-lap average of 230.5 miles an hour. What a day this is. So much excitement here at Indy. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe with you. So as Ryan Hunter-Reay winds down, Rinus VeeKay winds up. And this guy had a washing machine of emotions yesterday, because we take you back more than 24 hours ago here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is what happened to him early in qualifying on his initial run. A big crash which sent him limping. It sent his car back to the Ed Carpenter Racing garage. They were able to keep the same chassis, but everything else was changed. And VK knew the pressure was on at the end of the day. He didn't only put himself in the show, he put himself in the Fast 12, and wife Carmen was brought to tears.
What an incredible comeback for this young man. Huge effort to all the crew at ECR for getting this car not just rebuilt, but rebuilt with the speed required to put on that kind of performance. Rinus VeeKay showing no fear, getting back in the race car, holding it flat out for 4 laps. And in the heat of the day, Townsend, when it wasn't actually that fast for a lot of other drivers, this guy, who's a qualifying expert here, got it done.
What does he think about qualifying here at Indy? Have a listen.
The INDY500 qualifying is nerve-wracking. The hardest thing for me is actually being outside of the car. You know, you put your lap time down. That's all I have in control. That's those 4 laps. Then you have to watch other guys trying to beat you. It's nerve-wracking. It's hard to watch because that's the only thing I have no influence in.
And he is a specialist at what he's doing right now. Rinus VeeKay has done 4 Indianapolis 500s. He has not finished worse than 4th. And the last 3 years in a row, Townsend, he's been on the front row.
And he looks wicked fast through turns 1 and 2. Relative to Ryan Hunter-Reay, 229 was the minimum speed. At the end of the back straightaway, 240 miles an hour for Rinus VeeKay. The number 21 is tuned up, and local team Ed Carpenter Racing delivering once again a fast car for qualifying.
Watch this, watch this. End of the first lap, 233.5 miles an hour. VeeKay's on it.
That is a monster first lap from Rinus VeeKay, but it's like we talked about, it's not just about being fast. You gotta hang on to that speed. You gotta be consistent. If he can keep it to within half a mile an hour, maybe 7/10 of a mile an hour fall off, that's going to be ideal for Rinus.
Watch the gearing, lower left-hand corner. He's in 6th gear there, and he stays in 6th gear, so no shifting. Down to 5th, actually. Down the front straightaway, he does grab the downshift.
On top of your tools, doing awesome.
Halfway there, this one's in the 232 mile an hour range, 232.7.
Again, we saw a big drop-off from Ryan Hunter-Reay from first lap to second. Then he sort of stabilized. What can Rinus do on this 3rd lap with the tools, with the inputs? How does he arc the corner on entry?
They opted to skip practice this morning and continue to work on the race car. And we might be seeing the benefit, the reward of that, not only in any potential tweaks or upgrades, but also keeping the engine cool, the car cool for this run.
3rd lap says 232.1 miles an hour. His average is looking good. He's going to leapfrog Ryan Hunter-Reay at this pace because his average is in the high 232 range.
You want to talk about pressure, guys. Yesterday, you could do as many runs as you want. You could go back out, try to increase your speed. For the top 12 here, it is one and done. You've got to put your best hand on the table to try to get your shot in the Firestone Fast 6 and go for pole. So big pressure on these teams and drivers.
And this best hand might just be good enough to give trouble to Team Penske, to Arrow McLaren that'll run later.
This is going to be special. Rinus VeeKay to the line and to the top.
Great job.
Solid.
Good job, guys.
And Dad Marine is pleased with that. A 4-lap average of 232.6 miles an hour.
So just kind of snapshot that in your mind.
Yep. Good job, Reed. Nice work.
The gap from lap 1 to lap 4, the fall off about 1.5 miles an hour. Ryan Hunter-Reay watches on from pit lane with Dave Burns.
He just got in, got a little talk with the team there. Ryan, what happened on that lap for you? All positive, or were there some things you wish you had better?
Oh, no, I mean, that was pretty terrible, but all things considered, the worst we can do today is 12th. Obviously, we had big ambitions coming out today. You know, punching well above our weight yesterday, making it into the Fast 12. Today, we just, you know, we made a couple changes, and really what hurt us was, I think, just implementing a new shift strategy. Unfortunately, we had to do it, and that brought us right out of the rev range of the gear. And once you're out of that rev range, it's just bogging, lagging the whole time. So that's why it really fell off a cliff. And it was frustrating because I knew it was going to happen basically on the first lap. So just Yeah, unfortunate, but really proud of this team. This venture Chevy's been awesome. Representing 4.6's ranch here at the INDY500 is incredible. And yeah, we're the only one-off team that made it in the Fast 12. So very, very proud of the group. Absolutely.
Best that this team has done, Lee, since this format was instituted a few years ago.
It's a phenomenal effort from Captain America, Ryan Hunter-Reay, to come back in this one-off, put himself in the Fast 12, and you'll see him race next weekend, just like you'll see this guy race. The first of the Arrow McLaren squad drivers to come on out. This is the vibrant, the energetic, really humorous, and big energy Pato O'Ward. Car number 5, the Arrow Chevy, and he's coming to the green flag. 5th Indianapolis 500 campaign for Pato.
O'Ward, one of the cars that did practice this morning, saw some pretty big speeds out of the number 5. And just look at how busy the driver's hands are. Thumb on the left going, hand on the right to the roll bar.
And James, you might have noticed in turn 2, it looked a little too free, a little too pointy on the front end. He reached down with his right hand and adjusted the front anti-roll bar. He pushed the lever forward. That's push for push. That's the way to keep it simple. Stiffening the front roll rate and trying to hold up the front of the car and stabilize the balance.
Oh, look at this, 233.1 miles an hour for Pato O'Ward.
Not quite as good as Rinus VeeKay, but real close. If he can stay consistent, Diff, it'll be better.
Watch the speed, bottom left of your screen at the end of this backstretch. He got to 241 miles an hour on that first lap. 239. 240, just a flash at 240.
So now you start thinking, James, about that right hand. Do you pull that bar adjustment back to stay ahead of the tires, or do you leave it right there?
It's all about trying to stay ahead of the balance. Marty, these drivers are so busy over 4 laps.
232.5 on that lap for Pato O'Ward, who drives a Chevrolet. And in the news here at Indianapolis in the last 24 hours has been Chevrolet. They've had 7 separate engine issues where the engine would suddenly lose power. Jim Campbell from GM told me they've had dynos around the world literally working overnight to try and make sure that doesn't happen today here in qualifying. And then in practice this morning, they used 3 different engine map settings among their 8 cars who practiced this morning. They decided on one. Diff, it feels like it should be Team Chevy's pole today, but I can tell you there's a lot of nerves in the Chevy camp.
There sure is, Marty. 3rd lap for Pato O'Ward, 232.3. That's really consistent.
So his thumbs are working engine settings and the weight jacker like Hinch mentioned, and then the mechanical roll bar. This thing is perfectly balanced. You saw O'Ward make another roll bar adjustment on lap 2. He's got it right in the window. He is dancing on the tightrope.
And it's going to be close. His average is hovering right around that of Rinus VeeKay. Remember, you don't have to be the fastest on this run. You just have to be in the top 6. Almost nothing between it.
Watch
so
this.
Close.
To the outer brinks, Pato O'Ward, 2nd by the narrowest of margins, 232.5 miles an hour.
5.84 to Rinus VeeKay's 6.10. We're talking fractions of a mile an hour over a 4-lap average.
Over 10 miles.
Just incredible.
Crazy.
And still 9 cars to run with a lot capable, many capable of bumping Pato O'Ward out of the Firestone Fast 6. Let's head down to Dylan Welch.
Yeah, Rinus liked that run from Pato. He's still on the top of the board for now. So yesterday aside, how happy were you with that run right there?
I was happy. I mean, car felt safe. I was having a little bit of understeer, and it was building understeer. So, I mean, that was pretty easy to adjust with the tools in the car. But, yeah, pretty happy. I mean, it was really hot out here, and I think the track was almost like 10 degrees hotter than when I went out yesterday. So, no, car's faster, I feel like, than yesterday. So, no, great job by the guys. Great calls we made, and I mean, this feels like a bonus lap. I mean, after yesterday, I was nervous before this, but right now I feel like, you know, we got some really good ingredients, and I can just kind of chill down and enjoy from here on. And I think the same for the team. You know, everybody's super proud of themselves.
They skipped that morning practice this morning to rub on this race car a little bit more, and seems like it's worked for now.
Working for now, for sure. Enter the racetrack car 75, the Armada Honda of two-time Indy 500 winner Takuma Sato. In the Indy 500, and Taku has done it not once but twice. And here he is, part of the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan team for the Indy 500.
Lap one.
Lap 1, 232.1. So he's not in the same zone as Pato O'Ward and Rinus VeeKay at the moment.
And what a juxtaposition for this team, Diff. You have Takuma Sato here in the top 12, trying to get into the Firestone Fast 6. Meanwhile, you've got teammate Graham Rahal, who will be taking part in the last chance qualifying after this session is over, just trying to make the race for the second year in a row.
And what makes it really strange, team-wise, is, of course, that Takuma Sato is a fourth entry, a one-off entry for the Indy 500. Graham Rahal, team leader of the full-time three-car effort. You would normally expect some of the issues to fall the way of the one-off effort. But Takuma Sato, guys, right now, faster on lap 2.
Nice.
Consistency might pay off. If he can hang on, he could threaten O'Ward. It'll be tough, but very consistent.
For those of you who watch IndyCar racing regularly, you know this. For those of you who are new, there are two engine suppliers to IndyCar, Chevrolet and Honda. Chevrolet has 9 entries in the Fast 12. Takuma is one of only 3 Hondas, and he's 232.2, super consistent.
Oh, but super high at the exit of turn 1, James. That car's starting to slide around as the Firestone's good for 2 to 3 laps, but that 4th lap makes it a handful behind the wheel.
And that's experience talking right there, Townsend. That's a driver that's staying ahead of the balance by adjusting their tools preemptively, trying to be proactive rather than reactive to what this car is telling him to do. It's not fast enough to challenge VeeKay, but it is so consistent.
It is fast enough, though, to leapfrog Ryan Hunter-Reay to the yard of bricks. Checkered flag. And Takuma Sato goes 3rd of the 4th of the 4 runners so far, with a 4-lap average, 232.17 miles an hour. Here's Dave Burns.
Pato O'Ward was in the VeeKay zone there at the top right now. Did you like those 4 laps? Does it hold?
I did like those. I don't think we had much more. I'm happy of what we kind of chose to take for that run, considering where the track temp's at. I know we just missed it with Rinus, but I think it'll stand. I think it'll be enough for the Fast 6, and then try and squeeze a little bit more speed out of it for the Fast 6. But I guess we'll see. But yeah, so far I was happy with that. It's the happiest balance run I've had all month in qualifying specs. So we just keep getting better and better. Just don't think we've got a 234 quite.
That's great news, though, that balance for the 5 fans. Kevin?
Santino Ferrucci is next up on track. He told me that qualifying is almost a subconscious state. You just don't hear anything. You're so on your own. But you know AJ Foyt is with them. Last year, Ferrucci gave Foyt their best finish in almost a quarter-century, leading laps and finished 3rd. AJ loves the spirit and mentality of this young driver from Connecticut. They made some changes after the morning practice today to try to attack.
The homes for our troops, Stars and Stripes Chevrolet, the Super Texas team, AJ Foyt Racing. What a treat for Santino Ferrucci again to perform not only for AJ Foyt, but in front of AJ Foyt at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here comes the green flag.
You see Santino Ferrucci's average starting position, but the bigger story here is this guy is a finisher at Indianapolis. Since 1953, no driver with 5 or more starts has a better average finish at Indy than Santino Ferrucci. He's the best in this field on average finish, even better than that of Helio Castroneves, a 4-time winner. He knows how to find the checkered flag, and he's been fast so far this month. He rounds turn 4, James, 230, 229 minimum speed.
Here we go. Lap 1's going to tell us a big piece of this puzzle. 233.0 miles an hour.
That is in the conversation. If he can keep the degradation to within a half-mile an hour. He is fighting Rinus VeeKay for the top spot so far. This is the pace that we saw last year out of the 14 in Santino Ferrucci. It was kind of missing early in the week in practice, guys, but once the engines got turned up on Fast Friday, they added 100 horsepower from extra boost for qualifying. It really seems like this car has come alive.
They share a technical partnership, does AJ Foyt Racing, with Team Penske. Relatively new in the last year. It's paying dividends for both teams as lap 2, still strong. Santino Ferrucci goes 232.7.
There is AJ Foyt looking on with great deal of interest. If he can keep it around that, James, laps 2 and 3 are crucial for the consistency. The average so far for Ferrucci is 232.8. That's going to put him more in the conversation than ever if he can keep it there.
And going back to Takuma's super consistent run, you can add more downforce to the car. That's going to take care of the tires, make the consistency better, but it robs you of pure speed. Maybe Ferrucci a little lower on downforce, higher on speed, 232.6. He's still in it.
Look at the average. That average would put him on top as he goes right up near the wall.
Santino Ferrucci is leaving it all on the track today. 232.7 with 1 lap to go. Down the back straightaway, watch the speed climb. 236.7, 238. Hang on for 2 more corners.
Folks, don't take the numbers for granted. Just take a moment to think about how ridiculously fast this is. We're over 230 miles an hour. Santino Ferrucci to the top.
Checkered flag.
232.7 miles an hour for AJ Foyt Racing.
T1, baby.
High fives and back slaps all around there in the 14 pitted, well deserved.
LFG, boys. LFG, let's cook.
This is such a team effort, such a collaborative group effort to build a car for qualifying at the 500. Look at this line here, getting a little bit high, using every inch of racetrack. You can see the shadow of the tire on the wall there, T-Bell.
And it's hard to appreciate that those 4 tires are in slip. It might only be a 0.5% or 1%, but that is a 4-wheel drift at 230 miles an hour, and even that gets a smile for Supertex.
And I'm not sure the 89-year-old AJ Foyt realized that he went to the top initially. He liked what he saw, and he's going to like it even better when his man Santino Ferrucci comes back to the box. All right, so it's Ferrucci, VeeKay, O'Ward, Sato, Hunter-Reay. Bring on Sweden's Felix Rosenqvist. And what are Fro's thoughts about qualifying for Indy?
Qualifying laps at Indy, the fastest you go all season. You peel every bit of grip and downforce that you're willing to do. It is so tough.
Flag, green flag.
4-time winner and now co-owner Elio Castroneves told me that he was a little bit nervous. Felix was before he got in. Let's hear what the team told him.
Yeah, guys, super proud of being here in the Fast 12 with you guys. It's I think we actually have a real shot here, so let's try to execute, stay on top of the wind and the gears and everything. Yeah.
Great information back and forth between the team and the driver. Like I said, huge team effort, not just in building these cars, but executing these runs. The driver needs to know what the wind's doing, what the suggested gear pattern is, any information they can pull off the cars that have already run, track temps. And the first lap for Felix at 232.5. Not quite the speed that we saw from him this morning in practice. One of the quickest 4-lap averages we saw.
So we've only had one other Honda run. That was Takuma Sato, and he had the He had the consistency. As the advice from pit lane comes for Rosenqvist, use 5th gear. They do not want him to upshift. As the engine gets hot and the power comes down, they want him to stay in 5th gear.
He's running in 6th right now, so this tells me this is a change in plan. They thought that maybe the car was going to be able to pull 6th and hold it.
We want to use 5th gear.
They're having to repeat it. He's not getting it. Felix had radio troubles in practice earlier this week, guys. He couldn't hear the team on track. The fact he's leaving it in 5th, I wonder if he's not getting the message. There he goes, down now.
232 232.2 on the second lap for an average of 232.4. I spoke to Felix this morning before practice. He was pretty relaxed. He was quite optimistic. He said, I think I'm going to go either way. I'm in the fast 6 or I'm going to be 12th. So I'm either going to be at the front or I'm going to be at the back. There's no in between for me today.
Well, that radio communication from Felix to his crew just before the run, as the quarterback of the team, as a driver, it can go two ways. You either try to get your guys jacked up, or in this case, it's all about stay calm, stay alert, as lap 3 is calm. It is consistent, 232.3, just like Takuma Sato. Meyershank Racing finding good, consistent grip.
But you also have to give Honda some credit for good, consistent power. As these engines run, they get hotter. They can lose power over that 4-lap run. Of the 2 Honda runners we've seen so far, they're definitely very consistent, both in chassis performance and engine performance.
Mike Shank on the right, co-owner. Elio Castro Neves in the middle. Part owner and 4-time Indy 500 winner. Tom Blomqvist on the left. You'll see him race next Sunday. Felix Rosenqvist to the line.
To the checker flag, checker
and
flag.
leapfrog Sato to P4. 232.3 miles an hour. Jim Meyer there, co-owner as well. And if you're watching this in a place that doesn't deal with miles per hour, maybe kilometers per hour, they're doing 375 kilometers per hour. Insane speeds here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it is faster than this driver has ever gone in any race car. This driver just happens to be NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson in the HendrickCars.com Arrow McLaren Chevy. What a month of May it's been for Kyle.
And what's the big difference between an Indy car and a NASCAR Cup car around Indianapolis? Downforce.
I was going to say everything.
But let's start with downforce. At 235 miles an hour, Kyle Larson's race car is producing 3,300 pounds of downforce. It only weighs 1,700 pounds standing still. So you just think about all of that, I'm going to call it free grip, plowing down those Firestones.
The story of the double hasn't been told for a decade. Kurt Busch was the last to do it. And if you don't know what the double is, it is the Indianapolis 500 and the Coke 600 in the NASCAR Cup Series on the same day. And there is motorsport legend Jeff Gordon of Hendrick Motorsports. And there's a part of Jeff that wishes this was him once upon a time, or maybe even now, but it's not. But he is absolutely enthralled with what one of his drivers is doing here at the Brickyard.
Jeff Gordon's been here the last couple of days, and I have not seen him without a smile on his face. He is loving this joint venture between Hendrick Motorsports and McLaren. And Kyle Larson making the most of the opportunity. He's learning quick. He knows how to use the weight jacker now, the bars. He's comfortable. It's going to be fun to watch.
Jeff Gordon almost being like a proud father when he was doing his first qualifying run yesterday. Had the cell phone out to record going across the line.
All right, let's find out this. Lap 1 for Kyle Larson. Is he close? Is he close? You betcha! 233.4 miles an hour for Kyle Larson.
That gives him some good margin. Degradation over the run. See that line a little bit higher than what we've seen, but he didn't seem to scrub too much speed.
Just missed that apex. Want to get that left typically below the white line. If you're everybody but Elio Castro Neves, we'll see that next weekend. But for Kyle Larson, good minimum speed, good pace, tracking well. He gets below the white line out of turn 4, and the speed is strong.
If you want a little bit of weight checker for turn 2, it's up to you.
Halfway tells us the story, 232.8.
You heard the team tell him a little bit of weight jacker for turn 2. That'd be an adjustment he makes in the cockpit to put more static weight on that left front tire to try to help the turn.
He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it with that adjustment. You can also control how aggressively you roll your hands into the corner. There's a lot of leverage on the steering wheel to control the yaw angle of the race car, and Kyle Larson is getting the job done.
What an incredible performance. And he is 3/4 of the way there.
White flag.
1 to go, 2.5 miles, third lap, 2:32.5. Wonderful consistency.
This is the toughest time through turn 2. Lap 4 on the corner where he struggled initially, watching the hands, and it which is nice.
When Kyle Larson has started a significant series, his first qualifying effort in trucks was 25th. His first qualifying effort in Xfinity and Cup in an IndyCar, and it's going to eclipse all 3 of those series. To the line, or is it to the top? Kyle Larson.
Checkered flag. Great.
He goes to the top. 232.78 P1.
And Kyle Larson locks himself in.
Very nice work, Kyle. Stellar job, everyone. Everybody on the 17, nice work. That's something very, very special to be proud of, everybody.
They're going to get another shot at this to go for pole position. Larson in the Fast 6.
First driver guaranteed into the Firestone Fast 6.
That means, folks, he is starting on the first 2 rows next Sunday for the Indy 500. Jeff Burton, this story just gets better and better.
A little squirrely, the calmness with which he catches the slides and the confidence with which he rebounds. A driver working high confidence right now is this young Floridian sensation, a 2-time winner in IndyCar, all ready for Andretti Global, Kyle Kirkwood.
And this is the 3rd and final Honda in what has been his sea of Chevrolets.
Yeah, it's been an interesting story since we went to that bigger boost on Fast Friday that they run all throughout qualifying weekend. They'll go back to the lower boost, 130 kPa for the race. Engines seem to be pretty even in that configuration. First lap from Kyle.
232.6 miles an hour. I spoke to him this morning. He said, I'm super happy with my cornering speed. I'd like a little extra in the straight line.
Who wouldn't?
Well, had 2 Hondas run so far, very consistent Honda runs with Rosenqvist and Sato.
It will be interesting to see if we capture that same kind of consistency with the 27 from Andretti Global of Kirkwood.
Balance looks great. He looks very comfortable, just like you said, Diff, mid-corner. But you have to stay on top of it.
And it's consistent, guys. A 232.4, only 0.2 of a mile an hour bleed off between those first 2 laps.
And he would love, certainly, to be in the Fast 6, but if not, to be the fastest Honda in qualifying at Indy.
Still to come, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, and Alexander Rossi. 4 Chevy-powered cars and drivers that have been very fast here at the Speedway. Kyle Kirkwood in the AutoNation Honda for Andretti Global. Lap 3 complete. Does he stay in that 232 mile an hour range? He sure does. Nice work. Averages at a 232.4.
Oh, he had to back out big time. Slid out, slid high. That's a big scrub of speed. You got to stay after it.
He's pedaling it again in turn 2. That is going to absolutely kill the lap speed for this final lap. Kirkwood so close, was tracking to be in the top 6 provisionally. It's all come unglued, T-Bell.
Yeah, but good job saving your race car. His teammate, Marcus Ericsson, wrecked huge on Friday, had to go to a backup. Kyle Kirkwood doesn't want to destroy a good race car as he takes the checkered flag. Is it faster than Hunter Ray?
Checkered flag.
It is 7th place, but he misses out on the Firestone Fast 6. Let's have a look at what happened.
220 results of this, picks up a little bit of understeer. You see that right front up in the gray, so close to the wall. One of the guys that had a really strong run sits atop the timing pylon right now, Dylan, is Kyle Larson.
That's right, and down here getting lost.
And Jeff, one of Kyle Larson's teammates is Alexander Rossi, who has just set a blisteringly quick first lap speed. Here's lap 2. And it's another one in the 233 mile an hour. Rossi is flying.
There you go, a half-mile an hour drop off, but from that big first lap, you're using the tire that little bit more. You can see a tiny bit of scrub in the steering wheel coming off of turn 2, adjusting the weight jacker, adjusting the engine maps. working so hard is Alex Rossi to try to keep the balance underneath him. 2 laps to go to put himself in pole position at the Indy 500.
White flag.
1 to go for Alexander Rossi. 2:32.9. Wow, this is an amazing run.
This is going to be a big jump up, guys, if he can keep this trajectory, averaging still over 233 miles an hour. The Penske car is still to come, but this is a solid run from Rossi.
It's going to push Takuma Sato out of the Firestone Fast 6, but it's going to guarantee that Santino Ferrucci is in for AJ Foyt.
That if Rossi holds this, we'll have 2 McLarens, potentially 3 Penske's, Santino Ferrucci and AJ Foyt. And Arrow McLaren getting it done on consistency. Rossi quick on lap 4, 232.7. And that puts him to the top.
There's an Indy 500 winner in the Firestone Fast 6. Yeah, boys. And let's hear from one of those drivers locked into the Firestone Fast 6.
This is the one to watch right here. The 2 in his very first run on Fast Friday.
Coming to the green flag.
Practice for qualifying. Joseph Newgarden lit it up and proved that his team Penske car was potentially the one to beat once again. But they didn't qualify up front last year.
No, they didn't. Quite the opposite. Qualified down in 17th position, raced their way into contention near the end and ended up taking the win. He's been on the front row once before. Qualifying not necessarily his strongest suit, but getting it done when it matters in the race. Several top 5s. And of course the win a year ago, 220-mile-an-hour warm-up lap, but let's see what lap 1 is. What's the pace?
Look at this, 233.5, which is pretty much level with Alexander Rossi, so it is on.
And the thing to watch with Joseph Newgarden that's been so impressive is how stable the balance looks. This car just always looks bolted to the track. You don't see it swirling around. Very smooth inputs from the driver, very controlled dynamics from the chassis.
Looks like a fighter pilot bolted into that race car, and he's essentially flying a rocket ship around this 2.5-mile racetrack.
Rossi was in the 233 range on lap 2, and so too is Joseph. And a big day today and a big day next Sunday could help erase the memories of the opening round of this championship where he won. He won the season opener, but he was found to be outside the rules, and so too were his teammates, and Joseph had that win stripped away from him, disqualified from the opener at St. Pete. There's been team members suspended, and Jonathan Duguid is not the regular strategist that he has in his ears on the box. That's usually team president Tim Cindric, who is not here as part of that suspension, but they're getting onto it with changed circumstances, and 233.1. Newgarden is absolutely flying.
Radius starting to grow there in turn 1. He had some understeer last lap as Newgarden gets all the way out to the wall. Jonathan Duguid doing real good with the advice from pit lane, telling Newgarden to control the front bar, go to P1, the softer position, and try to get that grip. 1 corner to go, but the pace is excellent.
3 laps in the 233-mile-an-hour range. Checkered flag is out. Jonathan Duguid already says great job, and it is a great job. 233.2 to the top.
Faster on lap 4 than he went on laps 2 or 3. You don't see that very often. That consistency killer across the run for the 2s.
That's impressive. That lap 4 speed increase. Haven't seen that out of one of the Chevy teams yet. And I speak to that balance once again. And it gives us a chance to go down to pit lane and Dave Burns.
Checking in with Kyle Kirkwood now, who had a fantastic run going until that final lap. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a fantastic run, if I'm being honest. We made some small adjustments and probably didn't go exactly the right way. I think the temperature caught us out on what exactly was going to happen there. We just had a little bit of understeer, but we thought we'd be on the bubble for the Fast 6. I think the McLarens kind of stepped it up there this afternoon. I think if I would have finished that last lap a little bit better, it would have been right in front of Felix. That's ultimately where we would have ended up. I was just chasing my tools so much that I dropped the weight jacker and then forgot about it when I got down to turn 1. So that was just wasn't doing the team any justice with that. But little ways to go if we wanted to be in that Fast 6 or even fighting for pole, right? One thing we know though is we got a good race car and we got a good starting position. So happy with how this month has progressed so far.
To the Firestone Fast 6. That's all you need to be. Is there more for the next run?
There is. We're trying to do this methodically. We're trying to go about this the right way with evolving track temps, and this place is unforgiving. So the team's done an amazing job, as I've said all month. The car's good, and we got one more thing for him coming up.
He won the 100th Indy 500 today. He's going for the pole.
Here's the yellow submarine, the Pennzoil Chevy for Scott McLaughlin, who also has been one of the top 3 fastest runners this week as things have ramped up. Once the inclement weather went away and we got some good running, this guy was at the front. So here goes Scott McLaughlin for his 4th Indy 500 qualifying run.
Regardless of what happens here today, McLaughlin's going to have his highest start here at the greatest spectacle in racing. 3 races at the 500 milers so far, 17th, 26th, and 14th were his previous 3 starts. Guaranteed to be in the top 12, and I would say based on yesterday and based on teammate Joseph Newgarden's performance, good chance he's going to be in the first 2 runs.
And that yellow Pennzoil, a throwback to the great Rick Mears, one of the greatest qualifiers in Indianapolis history. Can McLaughlin do him proud?
Here we go. Whoa! The biggest first lap we've seen. 2:33.8 for Scotty Mac.
Boy, that was beautiful, the way McLaughlin arced through turns 1 and 2. Super smooth, just like the Rocket Rick Mears used to do it, and the speed climbs to 240 going into turn 3.
Now, it's worth saying at this point in time, this is not the run for pole position. It is to lock in to the Firestone Fast 6. The run for pole and the first 2 rows will be later this afternoon. Lap 2 for McLaughlin. 2:33.6. He's on a monster run.
This is McLaughlin's to lose at this point in terms of being fastest so far. But again, not the run for pole, Dave. What it is, though, is the run for the order that they will go. The reverse order from 6th to 1st after this session is done is how they'll run. And why that's important, Townsend, is at that time of day, the later we get into the day, the track temp starts to fall. As the track temp starts to fall, technically the tires, they usually get covered a little bit better. They get taken care of a little bit better. It helps with degradation over the run. So there is an advantage to being quickest today, and Scott McLaughlin is certainly on his way to doing it.
This is huge. 2:33.8, 2:33.6, 233.4 miles an hour for the New Zealander. He's going to race next weekend in a replica Rick Mears suit, celebrating the 40th anniversary of one of Rick's 4 wins. It was a very emotional moment. Scott feels very proud to be in the yellow submarine and having that replica suit, and he's going to be very proud of this qualifying run. He'll go to the top. McLaughlin at a 233.4.
And Rick Mears still a key advisor to Team Penske, and perhaps even more importantly, a coach to this guy, helping McLaughlin learn the art of oval racing.
They're pumped about it. So 11 down, 1 to go. Who's left? None other than the greatest qualifier in the history of IndyCar. 70 times Will Power has sat on the pole position. Here's his Verizon Chevy, and there's one really important piece of work, Hinch, that you have accomplished. You've sat on the pole position. Will Power's got to lock himself into the Firestone Fast 6 here first. and then he'll be going for pole later this afternoon. But first up, here's Marty Snyder.
In day one of qualifying, willpower for Team Penske was the fastest, but those laps, Lee, were set early in the morning. Willpower wanted to go out later in the day when the conditions were warm like they are right now. They were told, we're not going to go out. Will said to me this morning, I wanted to go out. We didn't. That was a mistake. They had a host of issues in that practice this morning, and a moment ago, they gave Will the command for what they wanted on the engine setting. Listen in.
You'd probably be able to get through front straight 1 and 2 and 5th, and then you're going to have to make that shift point decision based on when you get your tone and the marker on the back that you had already talked about.
Well, guys, I saw the mile an hour tickle 241 going into turn 3, so I think Will Power here with a shot. What does lap 1 look like?
Is it in the 234s? No, but it's up there with McLaughlin. Exactly the same at a 233.8 mile an hour first lap.
Such a tough call over the radio from the team to Power in the car. Hey, we think you can carry this gear through 1 and 2. Then you've got to make that decision. This is where that experience really comes in, guys. From inside the cockpit, you've got to assess where you are in the RPM range. When's the right time to do the downshift, if there's a right time to do the downshift.
I think if I'm Will Power, I'm saying, hey, you guys have all the laptops down there. Come on. But isn't it cool that it's the human difference that matters here in Indy? It's the feel. It's the instinct.
Lap 2 for Will Power, 233.6. This is tracking almost identically to Scott McLaughlin.
Almost nothing between them. And not only have Penske built some fast race cars, they have built 3 incredibly even race cars. And that arguably is even more difficult when you think of how many components go into making one of these cars quick around the speedway. To do that 3 times over with this margin for error is so difficult and impressive feat. Let's see what he can do in lap.
It was 233.4 was that one. It is still mirroring McLaughlin. They are neck and neck for that top spot. Now, it's not for the pole, but they will be the last qualifier later this afternoon in the Firestone Fast 6.
But what's great is it's a preview of what could come, of what likely will come this afternoon. Will Power doing a brilliant job managing the balance, staying consistent, 1 corner to go, and this will be the narrowest of margins at the line, guys.
Who's going to win the intra-team battle at Team Penske? Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, look on. Will Power and goes second by the narrowest of margins. McLaughlin is the #1 qualifier going into the Firestone Fast 6.
Is that 9 thousandths of a mile an hour?
Sure looks like
after
it.
4 laps?
After 4 laps, 10 miles, 16 turns, 2 different drivers, 2 different cars. Such an impressive run.
All right, let's hear from the quick qualifier. Here's Scotty Mack with Marty.
And I don't think he has seen that was 9 1/1000